Podcasts on UNCTV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
Todd Miller, founder of the North Carolina Coastal Federation, has received the 2011 National Wetlands Award for Wetland Community Leader. Mr. Miller recently stopped by our studios to talk about the honor and the work and mission of his organization.
Todd Miller, welcome back to North Carolina Now.
Thank you.
And congratulations are in order. You have been awarded the 2011 National Wetlands Award for Wetland Community Leader. This award was given for your work founding and leading the North Carolina Coastal Federation. First of all, what does this award mean to you?
Well, last week I went up and accepted it in Washington, D.C., and there were 5 other award winners, and I felt like I was in great company. And it's just very pleasing to see so many strong advocates for our environment and people that have been successful in helping to protect some important resources.
Let's talk about the work that you've been doing, which led to this national honor. You founded the North Carolina Coastal Federation in 1982. How do you describe the work of the organization?
Well, we work with citizens in the 20 coastal counties to try to bring about better stewardship of our coastal resources. And it's not just an environmental organization. What we work on are things that make our economy sound, sustainable, and engaging citizens in the decisions that have to be made on an ongoing basis to try to be good stewards of our environment.
What does it take to get that community involvement so that you are hearing from citizens across the state about the projects that need to be worked on and getting their perspective on how to move forward with some of these projects?
Well, one thing we're fortunate is that the awareness of environmental issues is pretty high, and particularly like on wetland issues. When I first got started back in 1982, the commercial fishing industry was already very concerned about the large-scale drainage projects that were occurring and the damage it was doing to the fishing economy. So it wasn't so much educating people about what the problems were, it was more what you could do about them. And that's always the challenge, to try to make the management programs that we have work to their potential to maintain a good environment in the state.
Looking back over your work since 1982, what do you consider to be the most significant wetlands conservation project that you and the organization have worked with citizens across the state to achieve?
Well, I sort of fall into 2 categories. One was early on we worked on stopping a proposal to strip mine about 120,000 acres of peat bogs in northeastern North Carolina to convert that to methanol. There was actually a federal subsidy that would have put $500 million into converting the wetlands into methanol fuel. And the local communities were concerned about it, but they didn't really know what to do about it. Because of the opposition that developed to that proposal, that project fell apart, and now we have more than 100,000 acres of wildlife refuges. Alligator River is an example, that now occupy that land that was once slated for mining. So that, it's pretty gratifying to see that happen and actually, maintain a very high quality environment there.
You mentioned a second project.
Right.
What would that one involve?
Well, starting around 1999, we were able to start purchasing a farm in Carteret County called North River Farms. It amounts to about 4,000 acres that we purchased, working with private landowners, another couple thousand acres. So the total project is about 6,000 acres, and together we've been able to bring about restoration of those lands that were once wetlands. They were farmed for a while, and now they're being converted back to wetlands. And we've seen shellfish areas reopened. The fishing improved as a result of bringing back that buffer and that natural habitat.
When you take a look at wetland and wetland protection here in North Carolina today, what is still left to be done?
There's plenty left to be done, but the good news is that 30 years ago we were in a terrible situation with large-scale conversion of wetlands. A lot of that has been stopped, and we're actually now working on trying to repair some of the damage that was done. And instead of it being so adversarial, which it was 30 years ago, we're actually working as partners with farmers to, in some cases, to try to, repair some of the damage. And it's a combination of federal programs, state programs, and local efforts that are coming together to make it economical to actually put back some of the areas that we've lost. So the trends are actually fairly positive. We are concerned, looking to the future, about pullback on protections that might still be needed. And and that, the gains that we've started to see, that we don't lose that momentum.
What has it taken to turn some of the folks who used to be your adversaries in this line of work so that they are now working alongside of you?
I think, you look for those situations where there's sort of a win-win situation where, particularly with farmers, the better management of these areas, that there's actually benefits to their farming operations through having a more stable drainage system in place, and also dealing with things like sea level rise and the different issues that are occurring on the coast. But and also recognition that I think everybody understands more the importance of wetlands, that they're really the kidneys of our coastal waters in terms of keeping them healthy and productive areas. And so, I think the times have changed, and that, there's just a more basic understanding of their role and importance, and people willing to do what's right to manage them.
What other issues are you and the Federation currently keeping your eye on here in North Carolina?
Well, we're very concerned about the sort of an attitude that some of the programs that have been in place, like things like the Clean Water Management Trust Fund, that have invested heavily in the protection and restoration of water quality in the state, our coastal management efforts. I think there's a questioning of their importance, and even looking at withdrawing some of the funding and legal clout that those programs have had over the years. And that's a disturbing trend. We did some polling a week or two ago looking at where North Carolinians are in terms of these programs, and there's still a very solid support among everybody. It doesn't matter what party you are for these programs. People want the environment well managed. In this era of a tight budget, we don't want to see that sacrificed.
Finally, if our viewers want to learn more about the North Carolina Coastal Federation and the work that you're doing, what do they need to do?
Well, the easiest thing is just to check our website, which is www.unccoast.org. And we try to keep that up to date on both the latest happenings in terms of issues on the coast, as well as opportunities for people to get directly involved in what we're doing.
Todd Miller, thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.